What's up, guys? Today we are going to do a comparison of the Samsung S25 Ultra compared to my main driver, the S20 Ultra. So these are 5 years apart. So I'm just going to give my experiences so far. I haven't had this S25 Ultra for too long, but I can give some insight on them. Okay, so S20 is my main driver. I'll explain this bit of paper in a minute. It has the 100 times zoom lens, and I don't know if I'll go over the specs exactly, but I'll just go over what I find good or not good about them. So I generally use these jelly cases because they're just a lot more lightweight and easier to use, and I prefer to have a case just in case if I do drop it, because these are quite big phones. All right, so just to begin, I'll do the pros and cons of what I found so far for them. So for the S25 Ultra, the Snapdragon 8 Elite is really snappy, really reliable, and really good. Definitely outperforms the S20, but there's 5 years difference in between it. The next is the AI features. Galaxy AI definitely improves the usability of the phone itself. I'll go over the S Pen as well, but this has the S Pen. This does not have the S Pen. During this S20 series, they did make an S20 Note, which they kept the Note series, I guess, back then, but it was kind of confusing. So this is, I guess, the second best phone compared. Oh no, the Ultra is usually the best. Anyway, they're close enough anyway. Upgraded camera system, 200 megapixel main sensor, 2 telephoto lenses, and a 50 megapixel ultra wide. It's got enhanced durability, so it has a titanium frame and Gorilla Glass armor too. It has the integrated S Pen, so built-in stylus, but for the S25 series they took out the Bluetooth functionality, which is kind of annoying. Just a quick note on the S Pen. So I do have the the Note 10 stylus, and they are interchangeable. So I thought that the Bluetooth capability being on the Note 10 would make that difference, but I wasn't able to connect or pair it because the functions are actually completely gone. But it was worth a try because the button itself, I don't think it has much capability, because before it was a remote button and it was much better in terms of that. The brighter display screen, 2600 nits, is much better in sunny or bright environments. The next one is longer software support. So they give 7 years of Android and security updates for the S25 Ultra. Let's go over the pros for the S20 Ultra. So it's definitely a still capable and high-end phone, holds up to everyday use, not intense gaming. The games that I played with this was Pokemon Go, and it does struggle ever since they upgraded the 3D textures and environment. It does struggle a bit sometimes, but generally it's okay. And just to note that this is the Exynos 990. It's not the Snapdragon, so it is the lesser of the processors. It's significantly cheaper, so this is much more affordable on the second-hand market. I actually had 2 of these. I bought mine on back market and refurbed for about 300 and 360 euros. I think 303 euros for the other one that I bought, but there was a slight issue with the network being locked. The pros for the S20 Ultra is the expandable storage, definitely. a must for me. I have the 512 GB version on this. We'll see how it handles, because I can't swap the SD card for this one, but I can for this. I have a bunch of micro SD cards that I can use. It can store up to 1 TB extra. So SD card definitely is a plus on this one if you prefer to expand your storage. So the model that this one is the 128 GB model. I think they were less back then. I think standard now is 256, but this one was 128, so I had to use the SD expansion to increase it. Large capacity battery, 5000 milliamps. It's quite big compared to, like, even if you look at the S25 plus S25, they're still under 5000 milliamps. Okay, so we'll go over the S25 Ultra cons. So it's a very high price, one of the most expensive phones on the market. So I bought this for almost discounted half price. I used the trade-in, a discount, and the promotional offer that Samsung were using it. So almost half price off. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to get this. So it's a very high price, a very large amount of money that you have to spend on in order to get it. And the other con is it has a very similar battery capacity. It's 5000 milliamps compared to the rest of them. They haven't increased them compared to a lot of the major Chinese brands that have gone up to 6000, I believe, which, you know, they could definitely put into it because it's quite a thick phone. They're trying to go skinny with the edges and the airs, so I'm not sure why they didn't do that. Next is the stripped down S Pen. So the remote, the Bluetooth remote air gestures, they're all completely gone. That it didn't really bother me. I didn't really use them in my Note 10, but it's something that a lot of people didn't like. Also, if you notice on the Samsung website, the S24 Ultra is actually, I think, on par, maybe $100, €100 difference, but the S24 Ultra is still a high demand phone because of that feature. Okay, S20 Ultra cons, outdated processor. So the Snapdragon 865 performs better than this one. This is the Exynos 990. It's noticeably slower, and I find it a bit jumpy, a bit laggy sometimes. But it still does the job. Like if you're just browsing, watching videos, it's completely fine. Limited software support, so no longer receiving major Android updates. The next issue is the camera issues. So it's known for autofocus problems. Whenever you go close to an object, you have to it loses focus. You have to actually back up and use the 2 times to get any kind of focus. I don't know why they didn't fix it with the software update, but that one really sucked, and it's still an issue for this one. The issue was actually not as bad on my other S20 Ultra. Not sure what the deal was. The 100 times space zoom, that's what it's called, space zoom, is very gimmicky. It doesn't really work well unless you have a tripod. The design is dated. It's not the boxy one, it's all the round edges. Like so, it's actually very comfortable to hold, even though people say the design is outdated. It's skinnier and it has rounded sides. What I find one-handed use for this is a lot easier to use than the S25 Ultra. It's kind of clunky because you kind of stutters because of the boxy edges. It's harder to use, but I find that if you're using 2 hands, not a problem, but one hand use, the S20 Ultra is a lot better in terms of that. The other con is the lack of the integrated stylus, and you cannot actually use a stylus on the S20 Ultra, which I thought was kind of strange. But that was before they actually had the S20 Note series separately. But yeah, this screen you can't use the S Pen on. So I just want to give my kind of view on this. I find that the S25 Ultra, if you notice the anti-glare, anti-reflection is really good compared to this. You can actually see me there. Do you see the way like I'm very noticeable here and less noticeable here? That's really nice in sunny environments. That anti-reflective coating is really nice. For the S20, like just holding it, especially with the skinny case here, I'll explain this in a moment. It's a lot more usable. You can just do one-handed, no problem, and it is not an issue. So for the I'm just going to compare this. It's a bit clunkier to use. I can't reach very well without doing a bit of acrobatics to get up there, but basically I have to use two hands when using the S25 Ultra. For this bit of paper, is the camera bump is huge, so I had to raise this little bit of it, so whenever I put the phone down it doesn't actually bump into things, because it can, I think I scratched the top of my laptop with it, and that's why I have that. But that's just the case itself. That's an issue with the case. Yeah, so S20 Ultra, if you can find it for 300 euros or lower, it's definitely a bargain and still a phone to get. For the S25, if you can get it on the promotional offers, definitely one to get. I wouldn't recommend buying this for the full price. It's just not worth it. Try and backtrack to a phone like the S20 Ultra. I think the S20 Ultra is the last one to have an SD card. It doesn't have, both of these phones don't have headphone jacks. So if you're looking for a phone like that, Sony Xperia is a good phone for that. Yeah, so these are my thoughts on the S25 Ultra and the S20 Ultra. Both very good phones and still usable in 2025. Alright guys, if you have any comments or suggestions, leave it in the comment section down below. Remember to like, share, subscribe, join us on Discord. Links are in the description. Bye bye.